Greetings, Earthlings, wisdom keepers, wisdom seekers. Welcome back to WizdomDropz, your source for daily drops of wisdom and savvy cat astrology. My name is TONIA, and today we are discussing the deeper implications of the fact that Mercury is also the ruler of the 7th house from the perspective of Sagittarius, also known as the eclipse. Okay, and this is using a fancy astrological technique known as derivative houses. So today we'll be using that to understand Mercury's conjunction to the eclipse itself at a deeper level. Make sure you like this video if you haven't already. And just so you know, this series, which this is video 4 of, is being brought to you by my promotion of WizdomDropz Astrology School, a year-long program specifically geared towards people who are looking to not only learn and yes, get on a path of mastery for astrology, but also for self-development and their business. So basically, if you are somebody who wants to create your own business and own your astrological power in a way that yields a return on investment and, fuels a lifestyle or whatever, then maybe this program is the right fit. If you like my style of teaching, you can read more about that container down below. And if you already know it's the right choice for you, make sure to check out the application link down below as well. Thank you for hearing me on my awesome services available for you and liking this video. And with that said, let's jump on into the notion of derivative houses and Mercury's significance in this particular eclipse cycle accordingly. So first things first, what is a derivative house? A derivative house is a house from the perspective of any given house. So you could theoretically say, check it out. In this chart, Libra's on the ascendant. That would make this the first house by whole sign, right? Right. So in that case, let's just think of the sign of Gemini. That would be 9 signs away, right? Because if you went 1, 2, 3, yada, yada to 9, that's how you get that. Gemini is the 9th house from the perspective of Libra. So say I wanted to apply the same logic to a different sign. That's going to be, in this case, Sagittarius. And that's because that's where this eclipse is taking place, right? The new moon right here. And say I wanted to explore, what is Mercury? Who is Mercury in relationship to Sagittarius? I could take this notion of derivative houses and apply it, okay, to that and say, well, Mercury is actually the ruler of the 7th house from the perspective of Sag. And that's how, friends, we do derivative houses. So that is something that we learn in astrology school and apply in much greater depth. But the quick summary, okay, moving on, this is the 7th house ruler in relationship to Sagittarius. So Sagittarius is going to be, therefore, not only the place of new beginning for us over the next 6 months, but also a place of coming to a deeper awareness about relationship, around business, around contracts, around organizations that we're even involved in at a more intimate level, not like larger kind of networks, but, relationships that are more intimate or more concerned with being in a commitment to one another or to a certain established construct of relation and building, like a business partner, for example, or an investor, perhaps, who you work closely with. So, or some type of partner. Point being, over here, you can see that because the 7th house ruler is in the first relative house, this is going to take on a more embodied, meaning. And in my last video, part 3 of the series, I talked in depth about how Mercury is square Neptune and sextile Saturn at the time of this lunation, and that the implications of that are really going to show up for us in the next 6 months as well as this month, because Mercury is so close in orb of degree to the new moon itself. So now we're just layering all this information. In part 1, I went into what is the significance of an eclipse. Part 2, I talked about what is the energy of Sagittarius in depth and why does that matter. Part 3, I talked about the significance of the fact that Mercury is, filtering through and influencing all these new beginnings with all the mercurial things that it is, and how that kind of bounces off of Sag energy, just kneading it into the sourdough of this cultured wisdom drop that we're crafting. And, in this video, we talked about the relevance of Mercury as the 7th house ruler. And to conclude on that thought, I just want to let you know that because of this relationship in general with anybody you're considered in relationship, partnership, even good friends, right? You will see, okay, an energy there. You will see an energy there that is more prominent in the next 6 months than it has been before. There's something about that that is going to come up to a higher degree of significance. We will all likely see this play out, and this is good astrology. This is good forecasting. Another note, I would be remiss to not mention that Mercury is also the ruler of another angular house in relationship to Sagittarius, which is Virgo. So over here, Virgo would be the 10th, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yes, it's a Virgo. So, in other words, Virgo is also ruled by Mercury and is the 10th house ruler of Sagittarius. So in this chart, the 10th house ruler is also present with Sag. I think we'll all also during the next 6 months be taking on a deeper questioning, a deeper look at our legacy, at our collective legacy, at what will the children and the grandchildren of the people alive now talk about? What will their grandchildren discuss this time as in the history books? You know what I mean? What is going to be happening here in the fullness of time, and how do we play a part in that now in the current incarnation? I think that is going to be something on our more collective consciousness than it has been in a minute. And I say that for astrological reasons, not just because I'm hopeful that society wakes the F up, which it clearly is. We're waking up, we're winning out here as far as I'm concerned. The media will tell you one thing, and I don't even know what the hell's happening in Australia. That is crazy, y'all. I sure hope. I heard about some camps they're putting people in now. It's literally like, y'all didn't read any books in like school. Like your teachers must have sucked. Like you didn't read any of this that warned about all this. You know what I'm saying? It literally was like George Orwell. It was literally like, this is how Hitler did X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, you don't see this playing out. Like you don't all see this playing out. Digression aside, I think it will be more on our minds over the next coming months. This sort of awareness around what is our legacy, because the 10th house is always the most public house, and I'm saying the 10th from the perspective of Sag in case you're confused. So whole sign, of course. And so anyway, it's all about legacy, and it's the most public area, so it's practice as well. What did this generation practice? What happened in society publicly at this time? So anyway, looking forward to seeing Mercury's derivative house influence play out more fully in the fullness of time. Make sure you like this video if it brought you any value. Remember, WizdomDropz year-long hybrid program, WizdomDropz Astrology School, happening starting in January, enrolling right now. Link on more info down below, and you can of course apply using the link down below as well. Thanks so much, and with that said, through next time, and till next time, may the stars be with you. Peace.